What's up, Earthrockers? It's Bush Avatar, back at it for the last time. Or rather, well, for this game for the last time, not for the last time. Ever, of course. Um, this is the alternate route with Maria. This is the route with the best ending, with all the alternate maps, alternate levels. That's funny, I forgot that I did that. That's, of course, an Easter egg that's referencing Simon's Quest. Algiba is a town in Simon's Quest. The alternate mode, I talked a lot, more than I probably should have, in my original Rondo videos about basically whether the alternate mode was, like, designed for Maria or not. And I don't really remember what the conclusion that I came to was. The difficulty that I was having was that Maria does make the... Surprise, this thing's not dead. There we go. Maria does make the alternate route a lot easier, but she also just makes the game in general a lot easier. So I never really came to a solid conclusion. I think my answer was that it may not have been necessarily specifically designed around her, but that the gap in difficulty between Maria normal route and Richter normal route is smaller than the gap in difficulty between Maria alternate route, Richter alternate route, and that mostly has to do with the mountain region and a couple of the tricky jumps that you have to do there. But I think that it also has to do with and it had to do with alternate 5, or rather the alternate 5 that existed in Rondo. But beyond that, but those are the two big difference makers in that particular equation. Otherwise, you just kind of have like the basic, the standard Maria advantages that are always present and are always relevant. She's fast, she can double jump, the dragon does 1,000,000 damage. That kind of thing. The bridge, the funny thing about the bridge, which is the level that's going to come up after this, is that Maria's high movement actually is not like super relevant, because a lot of what makes the bridge difficult is the fact that that's pretty cool. The way it flew diagonally down into the water. Can I knock its? Yeah, there you go. Nice. You can knock its head off if you get there fast enough. The thing about the bridge is that Maria's high movement speed is not super relevant, because a lot of what makes the bridge difficult is the fact that they're constantly throwing up obstacles in front of you that Maria has to deal with. Like, these swordsmen are kind of exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, obviously she's better at killing them than Richter is, because she can attack without having to stop moving, but the swordsmen are annoying because they do my least favorite thing. One of my least favorite things that Castlevania enemies start to do in the later entries, which is they fly backwards when you hit them, and also they have a bad habit of flying at you from off-screen, like that right there, and catching you completely by surprise. So I don't really like them, and the fact that they get like knocked off-screen practically when you hit them, and then they can attack you from off-screen, means that killing them is not a smooth process of just running up to them and killing them. It's running up to them and killing them, running up to them, hitting them, and then worrying about what they're going to do next, and which kind of demands a degree of caution. Unless, of course, I throw a dragon at them that one-shots them, but I don't necessarily want to do that, because I really want to say I really want to save my hearts here for the boss, because the boss of the bridge, the alternate boss of the bridge rather, has a lot of health and benefits greatly from... What am I doing up here? I think I might be confused. Oh no, okay, that's just... Alright, never mind. Well, I guess that's just how you get there. In the Rondo, you could just walk past the little ramp leading up to the bridge, and you could do this little platforming course by yourself, but I guess here you gotta fall down at a certain point. Yeah, that all looks traversable with Richter, so I was correct in the hypothesis that I presented in my Richter alternate route video, which is that they changed the route the alternate route in the bridge to be more easily accessible by Richter. Because in Rondo you have to fall down in a very specific place in order for Richter to be able to get to this boss, but there they just made it so that you have to fall down anywhere, because all the jumps are completable by Richter. That's the difference. And this is the boss that I want to save up my hearts for, because he just does a ton of damage. Or he doesn't do a ton of damage, but he takes a ton of damage. So the more dragons I have, the more in my magazine to hit him with, the better. But what I really want is I want to save these dragons for Phase 2, which is why I'm actually still not using them. Oh no, I am using them. I guess I'm... Okay, there we go. The thing about Phase 1 is that Phase 1 is kind of a DPS race in disguise, because if you don't kill him fast enough, he'll corner you. Or he'll sometimes will corner you. Whereas Phase 2 is more of like a positioning check, and it's more of a... this is what I really want the dragons for. Because, holy shit, that was fucking one phase. God damn. What the fuck is that sound? What is that sound? I just heard the weirdest fucking noise I've ever heard. And it was only in my headphones. That's so fucked up. Okay. Sorry about that. I've never heard my laptop make that noise before. It was like a... It sounded like a phone ringing. I thought it was something in the real world, but I took my headphones off and I stopped hearing it, and then I put them back on and I heard it again. That was fucking bizarre. Do I have anything like... Sorry, I shouldn't be doing this in the middle of a commentary, but I'm gonna... It's so fucking weird. Anyway, yeah, this guy dies as easily to Maria as he does to Richter, if not more so, because Maria can more easily reposition herself and like maneuver around. I guess this level is slightly easier with Maria because she can get out of the mud piles faster, but it's pretty minor compared to the advantages she has in the mountain region. Although I do fucking hate the mud piles. The mud piles are like... They're annoying. Well, I gotta stop, actually. The mud piles are kind of like a microcosm of Dracula X, where it's like you can't move, so you want to jump, but then when you jump, something fucking hits you. Sorry, that little audio issue that I just experienced really kind of freaked me out. Anyway, yeah, unfortunately you're not going to see most of the graveyard, you're not going to see part of the bridge in any of these videos, and the Dracula X iteration of these regions anyway. Just 'cause I didn't want to do 8 videos. I'm okay with just doing 4. Because the game is I mean the gameplay is almost the same as Rondo, but it just doesn't delight me the way that Rondo does. So I apologize for that. If you were really chomping at the bit to see what the Dracula X Chronicles version of the graveyard looks like. Just imagine the Rondo graveyard, but that looks worse. And then you've got the Dracula X Chronicles graveyard. I guess this boss is technically, well, no. I'm on the lookout now for like when Maria is providing like a really serious advantage, and this looks pretty decisive just because of how badly she's fucking this guy up. But Richter fucks this guy up just as badly with just the axe. If he goes in with the axe, he'll just always crush this thing. It's an interesting like balancing factor that I've introduced to the game with the way that I play Maria, which I do still think is the best way to play Maria. Specifically, I'm talking about the fact that I only use the dragon, which has no item crash. And I still think that the fact that it has no, despite the fact that it has no item crash, it's still the best option, still the best one for sub-weapons. But it does mean that I'm playing the game. That's overkill. In a way that's slightly different, in that I no longer have the option that Richter has, which is to just spend a bunch of hearts to do a bunch of damage to like a boss I'm fighting. And that's going to be interesting when I get into Alternate 5, because my route through Alternate 5, or rather my strategy for getting through Alternate 5 on Richter, did involve pretty heavy usage of item crashes, not on the boss, but on the combat area right before the boss. So I'm interested to see how I get through that with Maria. I'm because I don't actually remember. I might pick up a different sub-weapon, specifically one that lets me item crash, because I don't, or I might pick a different path, because there's multiple paths to get to the Hydra in Alternate 5. But I think that the one that I took in my Richter route was the much more viable one, because the thing about the other one is that the other one has the other path in Alternate 5 has death pits. There's like there's harpies, and there's like platforms with spikes on them, and there's death pits, and that factor alone kind of means that no matter how bad the combat is in the other option just has to be better, because you're not being threatened with instant death at any point, the way that you would be if pits were involved. That's kind of what you always want to avoid, no matter what. Highest priority.
もう大丈夫だよ。私はマリア・ラーネット。お姉ちゃんを助けに来たの。こんなに小さい子が私を。ごめんなさい。私の名前はイリス。助けてくれてありがとう。どういたしまして。それじゃあもう行くね。ちょっと待って。腕を見せて。はい、どうぞ。やっぱり怪我してる。こんなの平気だよ。ダメよ。きちんと手当てをしないとばい菌が入ってそこから腐っていくかもしれないわよ。どうしよう。冗談よ。でも手当てはした方がいいわ。任せて。これでも医者の娘なの。はい、これでいいわ。ありがとう、イリスお姉ちゃん。いいえ、そうだ、これを持って行って。これ何？ただのお守り。無事に旅が続けられるように。なんだか力が湧いてくる。それじゃ行ってくるね。
And here I have to go use the facilities, but rather than actually sit here for a minute straight, I did what I should have been doing since the beginning of my channel, which is edit out the period of time when I'm sitting and doing absolutely nothing. So that's what that's all about. Interestingly, what the hell? Okay, that looked really weird. I must have landed like right at the top of the staircase. Anyway, a note, something, I think I said this already, but I'll say it again. In original Rondo, Iris, when she heals you in the cutscene, she actually heals you to full in the game. In Dracula X Chronicles, they got rid of that, and I think the reason they got rid of that is because they probably felt like it was superfluous, because there's a meat in a block in that underground area. Anyway, and then I think there might be another one somewhere. No, there's not. But there's like basically there's already meat down there, and then I think there might be another piece of meat if you take the normal route, because the normal route takes you to the Dullahan boss room, which also has meat in it. So I think they just figured that it was like not really necessary. And then in this whole scenario here, which is the path to alternate 5, the alternate path, the problem is not really your health. The problem is more like not getting knocked off and killed by skeletons. This feels shorter also, by the way, than the Rondo version. I hope it is, because that's the worst part of the whole game, and pretty much the shorter it is, the better it is. A note here also about the ferryman, and I'll see if I just demonstrate this through the gameplay if I don't have to explain it, because I think that I didn't. There's something about this part of the game that I misunderstood. Okay, I don't do it. So I thought when I played Rondo that if the key fell into the water, then you were just like fucked. Like you couldn't get to the alternate path. You just had to like jump in the water and die and restart the level. But actually, if you lose the key and you talk to the ferryman, he will give you the key. And then if you talk to him again after that, he'll give you meat. So there actually is even more meat that I'd forgotten about. But I didn't know that about about the ferryman. I didn't know that he did that. The Camilla fight. See, the Camilla fight actually is kind of harder on Maria because the way that this fight goes on Richter is very simple. It's like you hit her like once or twice, and then you just item crash. And I guess Maria just skips the item crash part, but the flip side is that you have to hit her more. I guess I probably could use the bird item crash, but I don't know if it would necessarily be a efficient usage of my hearts. Which, if my hypothesis is right, and I am going to try to item crash through some of the parts in Alternate 5, is an important factor now. But this is a good little piece of like level design synergy. The fact that the Camilla fight gives you so many hearts. There's like 15 in the hallway right before, and then after you beat her, she gives you like, how much was that? That was kind of a lot, wasn't it? Seemed like a lot. That was like 20-something? 20-something hearts? That's a lot of hearts. Leading into what is the hardest level in the entire game. And I don't know if I really made that point very emphatically when I was talking about Richter mode, but Alternate 5 in Rondo feels like it should be the hardest level in the game because there's like no boss in it, and because it feels like a highlight reel of previous challenges in the game. But I was sort of on the fence about like whether or not it was actually the hardest, or if Mountain Region was harder because of some of the tricky platforming elements, like the ride down the waterfall and the fucked up jump. But in Dracula X Chronicles, I think this is unquestionably the hardest level in the game because they really amped up. Because they introduced of the two routes you can take through the latter half of the game, they introduced like platforming in one route and then really brutal combat in the other. That's much harsher than anything in Rondo's Alternate 5. So, in that sense, Dracula X Chronicles is actually harder than Rondo, which is interesting. I would be. Frankly, it's kind of impressive, because the last thing you would expect in a 2007 remake of a game made in 1993 is for the remake to be harder. But I guess that just says something about Rondo. I mean, maybe I'm just more accustomed to Alternate 5, but I really don't think so. Okay, so item crash here. That's smart. And I don't know if I can get a dragon before I go into the big combat area in the latter half. See, this is why, okay, I probably don't use item crashes to get through the second half, because the thing about that item crash you just saw is that that was pathetic. I item crash and the knights didn't even die. If that was Richter with the holy water, everything on the screen would have died. So, I'm probably going to pick up a dragon here, which I think there should be one in this room, and then try to use that to get through the big combat section. That's not good. Getting hit by a bone there is really not good, because I'm resigned to getting hit once during the fight with the two knights that's coming up in a moment here, and okay, good. There's food here. All right, so that's actually acceptable, but I just can't get hit again because like I was starting to say, my plan is to get hit once by the knights in the double knight area that comes after this. And then after that, I'm gonna have to be really careful because there's no more meat, I think, between here and the Hydra fight, which is kind of crazy. But I think that's the case, unless no, I don't think there is. And I think, or is my plan not to get hit by them? I think I'm gonna item crash here, because I think if I like hit them correctly. Or maybe just the item crash will kill one or both of them? Let's find out what happens here. Okay, good. Good. Perfect. That's an excellent use of item crash right there. And I guess I must have decided that I didn't need to use the item crash to get through this part the way that I did with Richter. That's really good, actually, because those knights probably hit Maria for like a ton, because all their attacks are super damaging. So that's fine. I like this weird occult archway in the background. It's so funny how, like, the way that the game is structured, like levels 6 and 7 are supposed to be like the harder parts, but in practice for me it was always like alternate 4 and alternate 5, or like level 5 that were always the hardest parts, because excuse me, I don't know, I guess it was because, I mean, in this game it's because they designed alternate 5 to be really fucking hard. But in the previous games, it was just because, like, I think it was probably because, like, in every single version, every single route that I ever took through the game, I always did 6 and 7. So I think I just had more opportunities to practice with them. It's kind of like in Dracula's Curse, how, well, actually, no, it's not, because level 9 in Dracula's Curse is a different story. Level 9 and level A were always the hardest levels, just because they were that hard. So the Hydra is interesting. I actually kind of don't like fighting it on Maria as much as I like fighting it on Richter, because one thing that Richter has that Maria doesn't is I believe his whip has a slightly longer range than her birds, although now that I'm looking at it, maybe not. Oh no, you know what it is? It's because Maria, when Maria, like... Okay, this is going to be hard to describe. It involves jumping and throwing her birds. Where, like, if she jumps forward and throws the bird is going to come out at a set distance based on the moment I press the attack button. Whereas if I jump and then I whip with Richter, then by the time the whip comes out, I'll be it'll be like at the farthest forward point of my jump, so it'll come out farther forward. I hope that makes sense. It probably maybe it doesn't. Anyway, but as you can see here, the way that I'm playing this is pretty much identical to the way that I played it on Richter, and one of the consequences of that is that, unfortunately, I'm not really taking advantage of the fact that Maria's birds can, like, fly out and come back twice. Or no, yes I am. Okay, there we go. I just had to find the... This is it. This is the difference. Standing up on that little ledge to try to get the birds to hit the Hydra's heart. That's kind of the thing that Maria can do that Richter can't. The only thing I don't really like about that ledge strat is that it can be harder to you have to react more to when the red head on the left does his like overhand sweep attack. Overhand sweep when he like swings his head down from the top of the screen, because if you're playing on Richter and you're just jumping up from one of those pedestals down there, then when he winds that up all you have to do is duck. But if you're playing as Maria, you have to jump down from that ledge and then duck, so it's kind of like one more thing you have to do. But it does ultimately, I think, make sense to attack him from there, because you just get more you get more hits on the bird, and that might be a whole one fewer time that you have to disable the red head on the right, which is important. Because the faster a fight is over, the fewer chances you have to fuck up. That's a little piece of advice I have there. Interesting. I guess I think I'm trying to use the dragon more aggressively here. Normally I would never ever use the dragon on the bat, but I think this bat is like, maybe he's like fucked with me on. I know he's fucked with me in previous Rondo attempts, but I'm wondering if he also fucked with me in like attempts here. Wow, I'm really kind of. Oh, you know what it is? I think it's because the Medusa and the Mummy can both just kind of get shredded by Maria's birds. Although no, not the Mummy, because with my strat on the Mummy is to completely avoid his wrappings and stay completely out of his range and just throw dragons at him. So I guess my plan is to only use the birds to kill the Medusa, and then dragon on the Mummy, and then birds. I guess probably birds on Frankenstein. Look at that shit. Beautiful. Beautiful. Maybe I just feel like I've been underutilizing the dragon. I think it's what I said at the end of my last video, where I ended the Dracula fight in the normal route with 20 hearts, which is like 4 dragons I could have used. And right there, I think I used like 4 dragons to try to kill the bat. But also, that's not a perfect comparison, because I also used a dragon item crash in alternate 5. Which is different. That's kind of the only point in the game, I think, that I've ever used a dragon item crash outside of a boss fight, or that I've used it tactically. I've used dragon item crashes outside of the second form of Dracula before in like Rondo runs, but it was only ever done as like a panic button. This was actually planned out, which is the way that it should be. God damn, fuck. That's a shame. I was going for a no damage boss rush here, but unfortunately, I was so busy looking at the rocks falling from the sky to try to dodge them that I didn't react in time to the lightning attack. So that's pretty annoying. Damn it. And the Medusa fight was so clean too. Oh well. Yeah, I gotta be careful here because I don't want to... I do want to be careful about my hearts, but you also... Using the dragon to knock away the fire orbs is also like a really good idea. Because Maria doesn't have the Bible, so she has to be more creative with how she reacts to that. You can't just hit up and B and then forget about the fire orbs for the entire attack cycle. You have to like actually know where they are. A Frankenstein lightning shot sucked. Oh well. Fortunately, I don't have to worry about holding into hearts for the bridge because I just skipped the bridge. And this is the most satisfying part of any Rondo run, is just this part. It's just so beautiful. It brings tears to my eyes seeing this. Frankly, I deserve a fucking break after having to go through alternate 5. So the ghost of Shaft, who's going to be the boss here, because this is the good ending, is tricky on Maria because there are two things that Richter has the way that I play Maria that Maria doesn't have. One of them is item crashes, which is a personal choice thing, and the other thing that Maria doesn't have is the Bible. The Bible is like the best sub-weapon in the game for Richter, and I think it's not close. Jesus, come on, man. See, that's the most frustrating shit in the world to me. Can I just take a second to talk about enemies who fly around and who don't give any indication of when their flight path will end or what direction the flight will take them. Where it's like, I didn't know if that thing was going to keep going forward or stop and like fuck around. So, come on, dude. These fucking bitches. You're mid-lunge and I attack you and then you fucking dodge out of the way again. Ugh. This is so frustrating. Okay, okay. There we go. Perfect. That's more like it. I've been encountering this problem a lot with flying enemies in other games, and like because I'm going through the Metroidvanias. I'm going through like the GBA Metroidvanias right now, and like I'm having a big problem with flying enemies that don't make it at all clear what their flight path is, and like what makes them stop moving forward and change direction, or what makes them keep moving forward, or what makes them go up or down. And it's just the most fucking annoying thing in the whole world. See, Medusa heads are annoying, but the thing that Medusa heads do is that they always move in the same way. So you always know what they're going to do and when they're going to do it, aka a prerequisite for actually reacting to them.
アネットお姉ちゃん。マリアちゃん、どうしてここへ？リヒターお兄ちゃんに助けてもらったんだ。よかった。リヒターは無事なのね。それでね、私も手伝うことにしたの。え？何を？悪いおじちゃんをやっつけるの。ダメよ。危険すぎるわ。大丈夫大丈夫。平気だよ。それじゃ行ってくるね。マリアちゃん。リヒター、あの子を守ってあげてね。
That's funny. She just leaves. That's good. Why are you standing there? Move. What am I doing right now? Maybe I'm getting up to use the bathroom again, but why would I not edit this one out if I edited out the last one? And why would I go to the bathroom twice in half an hour? Okay, no, it's okay. I don't know what that was. Maybe I was alt-tabbed? I don't know what the hell's going on here. Sorry, guys. Maybe I was like looking something up. Yeah, I don't know. That was very strange. Anyway, there's gonna be a brief period of time here where Maria has no sub-weapon. If this were Richter mode, I would just pick up the Bible that's available here, but the weapon that Maria gets instead of the Bible is called the Songbook, and I think it's a joke because it does no damage in a very limited range, kind of the exact opposite of the Bible, which does mondo damage in pretty much across the entire screen. Very, very odd. And I'm not gonna get a dragon. There's the dragon. Hopefully it's still available. Fuck. Okay. That's bad. I'm remembering this now. So the thing is that Dracula X Chronicles is more or less a remake of Rondo, but for some reason they really changed the layout of level 7. They changed the layout of level 7 in a way they didn't change the layout of any of the other levels. And I don't know why they did that. Nothing about level 7 in particular seemed to demand a layout overhaul to me. But the consequence of that is that I don't necessarily know where everything is, and so right there, I accidentally break the torch that had the dragon in it before I meant to, and I really wanted the dragon to fight these guys. Fortunately, in the room before the shaft fight, there's every sub-weapon in the game that's available. Although, wait, no, would that only work for Richter? Because the thing is that in the room before the shaft fight, there's all these walls that can be broken with different sub-weapons. So you can like get one sub-weapon and then use the sub-weapon to break the wall to get a different sub-weapon, and it all kind of culminates with with a stopwatch at the end. And Maria's version of the stopwatch is not really very good. And anyway, stopwatches don't work on bosses, so it's a moot point anyway. I also can't take the route that I normally take because usually when I go up that staircase that I was just on to get to the room with the swinging pendulums, my plan is to is to throw a dragon at him. But now, of course, I have no dragon, so I have to take this longer route and kill the long neck bone monster up there more normally. So this is kind of a big pile of shit, what you're watching right now. Not at all what I want to have happen, and it's tacked to like another 2 minutes probably onto level 7. Maybe not 2 minutes, but... Well, actually I don't have to kill it at all, right? I can just jump over here. God, Maria is so good. So, okay, yeah, the walls are only a Richter thing, so that means that I'm going to be fighting the Ghost of Shaft with birds. This should be interesting. This is actually not bad. If there was any other sub-weapon I would pick instead of the dragon to fight the Ghost of Shaft, it would be the birds, because the Ghost of Shaft spends a lot of time above you, and the birds are, of course, upward diagonal oriented sub-weapons, so this is not terrible. It's not as bad as if I was going in here with like the cat or something, but it's really not what I want. So let's see how this works. And it's not what I'm used to, is sort of like the bigger issue. Seems like I'm barely using it at all. Just not intelligent, I think. I think it would be much smarter for me to probably not try to keep double jumping and hitting him. Yeah, that's better. What the fuck? Okay. I didn't think it could hit me from over there. What I should be doing, yeah, is what I'm doing there, which is instead of trying to double jump and hit him with the white birds, I should be jumping once to use the red birds and then save my second jump for like maneuverability or like dodging out of the way of things, instead of using both jumps just to try to get in range to attack him. Okay, that wasn't so bad, considering. Although one problem, the reason I took damage is because I was in a position that I wasn't used to. The fact, like I'm used to staying mostly in the middle of the screen when I fight the Ghost of Shaft because I have the dragon, and my plan is to just like throw dragons at him from a position of relative safely and then just maneuver purely around the bats. But there, because I had to be underneath him in order to hit him with the white birds or the red birds, I was just in a position that I wasn't used to, and I didn't get a chance to react to it. Fortunately, I made it through. I think there are some situations where, like, if Richter had the wrong sub-weapon, he'd be totally fucked, but Maria's powerful enough that it doesn't matter.
我がニエが何をしにここに来た。あなたが一番悪いおじちゃんね。マリア、絶対に許さないんだから。ほう、なかなかの力を感じる。食事の前に遊ぶのもまた一興。絶望に打ちひしがれながら我が糧となるがよい。だ、マリア負けないもん。
Like, if I was playing Richter and I went to the Ghost of Shaft fight without the Bible, I think I'd probably just be totally fucked. Because the Bible is really good at clearing out bats. Maria doesn't really need that because she can just dodge them. Because Maria can go wherever the fuck she wants. That's kind of her whole thing. I'm interested to see if I use another Dragon Item Crash here. I think I don't, because the thing about Phase 3 of Dracula that makes him hard is the parts towards the very end, where your positioning is very limited, and I'm hoping that I use the dragon to sort of take advantage of the fact that the dragon gives you unlimited horizontal range to sort of try to avoid the problem that I have on Richter, that I had on Richter mode, which was that I basically ran out of good places to stand during the very last attacks of Phase 3. And got hit at the very end when I didn't want to. So we'll see what happens. But I have a feeling that the exact same thing is going to happen again. I think he's going to hit me on like the last attack pattern that he gets off right before he dies. So let's find out if that's true. But I've held on to all my hearts. I don't know actually if... See, the Dragon Item Crash is really good on Phase 2 of Dracula because he's always there and he's always attackable. In this iteration, he teleports around a lot, but I do wonder how much damage like a few ticks of the Dragon Item Crash would do to him. I should throw a dragon right here. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, see, look at this. This is why I said it a lot in the previous Maria video. I'm going to say it again. The fact that the dragon comes out higher than Maria's head is... Oh, that's what hits me. Okay, well, it sucks. Above Maria's head is so important. And then I get hit again? Well, he cornered me there, which is not good, but I still... Damn it. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, that charging dog attack was one of the things that I had the hardest time dodging, because you do... It's a real split-second thing. Every other attack that he does I could kind of prepare for. I can figure out like a strategy to... I always know what the correct reaction is. Well, that thing you don't, so it's a test of my reaction time, which, as I think I've stated in the past, is not good. Did that dragon do 0 damage? Well, I managed to dodge his really hard-to-dodge attack at the very end, but unfortunately I fucked up before then, so my prediction was incorrect. Still, hey, I took damage. I mean, that's more than I can say for a lot of other Dracula fights, so credit where credit is due. Dracula X Chronicles did make the Dracula fight much more threatening than he is in Rondo.
バカな、こんな小娘に。
知らなかった？悪い人は正義の前に滅びるんだよ。
悪か。善と悪など意味のないこと。所詮は力が正義なのだからな。
よくわかんないけど、困ってる人がたくさんいるんだよ。そういうことはしちゃダメなの。
世界を汚し続ける人間たちが果たして善なる存在なのか、その目で確かめるのだな。
A much more poetic ending, quite frankly. Than the Richter ending. That's just my opinion. Also, I feel like this doesn't look evil enough. Like, do you see? Like, look at this castle. This castle doesn't look like dark and gloomy. It looks too bright. It looks just like a regular ass medieval castle. That's just my opinion, anyway. Anyway, that's Maria mode. Maria alternate, and that's Dracula X Chronicles. That's of course not all of Dracula X Chronicles, as I stated in previous videos. Something that they did to try to incentivize players to take alternate, optional pathways within levels themselves was they put a lot of collectibles in there, and I'm not really going to fuck around with that, so there is more, but there is more that's available. If you play this game and the visuals don't grate on you the way they do on me, and you really love it, and you want to keep playing it to get every collectible, you are of course perfectly free to do that. There's also a boss rush mode, which seemed kind of fun, but which I went ahead and skipped just because it would be a reiteration of things that I've already shown, and I felt like it would be, I don't know, I'm not too into it. It would be a nice thing to do, like, just for fun, but it's not something that I would want to upload necessarily. An important thing to note is that in Rondo, and I said this in my last Maria video, but I'll say it again because it's extremely important. In Rondo, when Maria talks to Dracula after Dracula is defeated by her cat meows at him. And in this version, they apparently lacked the technology to replicate that scene, which I think means that this game automatically can't be that good if they didn't have the cat meow with Dracula. That was a real sticking point for me, and I was intensely disappointed when it didn't happen. So they as nice as it was that they fixed other problems with Rondo, they seriously dropped the ball there. They seriously dropped the ball. This was a nice little vacation back to classic Castlevania after playing Symphony of the Night for 5 years straight. But it was only just that, a vacation, because after this video I'm going to start going into the Metroidvanias, which may lead to a slowdown in my upload schedule, because these games take longer to learn and just to collect footage for than a lot of the classic Castlevanias do. They're obviously easier, of course. I mean, Harmony of Dissonance is not as hard as Bloodlines, so I'm not going to have as much footage wasted on failed attempts, but the flip side is that the games are longer and they're more complicated, and there's a whole routing element that has to go into planning out the full playthroughs. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know all 5 of my viewers are waiting with bated breath to see the next chapter of my progression through the series, but you may have to wait. That area right there that you can see behind the credits, that's the alternate path through. That's the other path through Alternate 5. As you can see, there's water there. What you do there is you like bring down platforms and you have to avoid Medusa heads and like jump over them, and it's just like fuck that. Fuck that. Every single day of the week, in every week of the month, and every month of the year, and every year of human civilization. There's absolutely, I mean, it was nice of them to make it optional. That's the kind of thing that Dracula's Curse would have made you do. Dracula's Curse would have made you do both of them. One after the other. I also wish that they hadn't changed the clock tower music, because I think that the clock tower music in Rondo is excellent. I don't necessarily mind the version that they utilized here. It was what it plays in stage 6-1 in Chronicles, which is interesting. But I don't think it's as good. Hey, look at that. Everybody made it out. Richter's got a little hatchet that he never uses. Oh well. Darkness is defeated. Darkness is defeated by innocence. Like I said, poetic. Anyway, that's Rondo. That's Dracula X Chronicles. Keep your eyes peeled for what's coming next. What's coming next is Circle of the Moon. Oh boy. Very controversial. Ah!